Hello and welcome to Travelers Through the Universe to another episode of my all-time favorite games. And this time we have a very special game. Actually, it's a game series of, I, if I remember correctly, 5 games. And if I sound a little bit dead, the reason is very obvious because I'm a little bit dead, but that's fine, that's fine. We will do it anyway. So, what we have here, a game series from, I guess it was Capcom, a PlayStation 3 series, and yeah, the series called Resistance, and the first game was from 2006, the second 2008, and the third one 2011, if I remember correctly. So those games are actually pretty old to be precise here. Not that old if you compare it to Commander Keen, but still, I played it the first time when I was 16 or 17, so I mean 2006. That's a long time. But yeah. What is Resistance all about? It's a gaming series of an alternative past. Most of the time you have an alternative future, but this time that's very, very different, and I guess I like these games just because of that. So here we are. But what is the story? And I have to admit that till this day I like those games for the story, not really for the gameplay. I liked the style of the first game the most because I liked the gray, the dark colors, and the second game you can see on screen. Sorry without the gameplay sound because it's too loud and too distracting from what I'm saying. So yeah, we will work without sound. That's fine. So this is the second game, and in the end, I liked it the most. One reason is the multiplayer and what you can see right now, the cooperative mode. I really like those. The fact is, I like most of the cooperative games there are out there, because I like to play with other people, not against them. So this one is quite special for me, and you can see the cooperative modus right now. But let's dive a little bit into the Resistance lore, because there is a lot to unravel. But maybe you should play those games by yourself. Yes, there are PlayStation 3 games, so if you don't have a PlayStation 3, there is not an easy way to play them. But fortunately, there is a PS3 emulator, and if I read it correctly, you can actually play the first and the second game. Most likely just the single player portion, and without all the cooperative and multiplayer stuff. But yeah, I did not try it yet, but I will, because in order to make this video I checked if there is a possibility to play these games. But yeah, there is actually. And just for your information, there's also a PSP and a PS Vita episode. I did not play those because I did not have a PS Vita or a PSP. What I have seen so far of those games, they were pretty solid. Actually, most Resistance games are pretty solid. Not really good, to be honest. If I see it a little bit from my nostalgia perspective, I still love those games. But yeah, I can see that they are not that really good. But yeah, I guess we have all a little bit a guilty pleasure. But yeah, those games I like mostly because of the story. That's a pill hard to swallow because if you play Resistance 2, at least the main campaign, there is not so much story to unravel. There's actually more story in the first game, and you have to play actually the cooperative mode a lot and read a lot to understand the story and to get actually a little bit more story fragments. And that's a little bit a problem, but the story is really, really well and maybe a little bit outdated by now. It was a little bit different 14, no, not 14 years ago. This game was from 2008, so it's 16 years. It was a little bit different back then, but I like the story either way. So, what is the story? I talk a lot about it, or around it, to be honest. And yeah, the story is we have an alternative past, actually around the time where World War II would happen. But in this case, it did not occur. So we have these beasts instead. I have no idea what they are really called in English. In German, they are mostly called Chimera oder die Bestien, which is translated to the beasts. And if you look at them, that's quite fittingly. So instead of World War II, these beasts attack the humankind. If I remember it correctly, the war or the attack started in Asia, and we go from there to Europe, and in the second game to America. And while we're playing those three main games from the PlayStation 3, we discover or unravel a little bit the story, because we think, or at least in the game we think, the beasts, the chimera, come from somewhere else, but in the first game they dig towers from the soil, and those towers were there basically all along. I have no idea if it's explained how long, maybe thousands or millions of years, and so this threat is not really from somewhere else. It's a thing that they were already on this planet. No, I guess not at the time of the attack. I guess it's mentioned that the attack is from some sort of asteroid, the Tunguska event. I have no idea if that was pronounced correctly. I hope it was. And these beasts came with that, but they were once on Earth back then. And the story got a little bit more complicated around this corner, and it's mostly too much to actually explain it, and that is one of the reason I love those games, because there's so much story and you can explore a lot here. It's sadly the campaigns of the three games do too less with that. I have no idea why, to be honest, because they had a really great opportunity to tell a lot of the stuff. I have no idea if all this informations and the story is finished in the heads of the creators of those games, because some things here don't fit all of the story. I don't want to get into detail here, but maybe, and that's just a thought of mine, that they did not really had the final idea how to unravel it completely. So the story here could go from one space to another, and there will be no answer for it, and that's actually a little bit sad. But on the other hand, if you see what they do from time to time with other series and movies, um, I have no idea if I want a definite answer here, because sometimes they really mess up what they're doing. So the last main title was released 2011. There was also this PS Vita game in 2012, but there are a lot of unfinished answers, and that's really, really sad. But like I said, maybe I don't want to have those answers, so it stays a mysterium and not everything must be explained. Maybe one day I will write a story for it. I mean, I try to be an author, so writing about a game from the past that will be not finished anyway, at least with the story. We have a pretty open end in episode 3, or the third game, because the Chimera use also terraforming to have the conditions better suits them on this planet, because they do not like it very hot. They prefer cold weather, and so we learn actually, if I remember it the right way, in the first game, that they do something with the atmosphere to cool it down. You can see those, I don't know how to say it in English, those tanks on the back that they need to cool them down, because these chimeras, these beasts, are also partially made from humans, so that's a little bit creepy. And I remember playing it back then, the first game, and I was a little bit not shocked, but it was a story that I did not had back then. It was kinda intense to learn how a lot of these chimera are actually created. So it's actually a very, very sinister plan to overthrow another species to make more of your own by killing or transforming your enemies. That's actually very insane. And there's even a lot more to uncover and to talk about those games. But I think maybe you should play it yourself or watch an let's play or gameplay video about. I actually made a story overall back then, a complete video with the timeline, and maybe I can find it and share it in the future with you. There is also a let's play for me in German of these three games, but yeah, mm, I thought to myself that's not really the best thing to show, because sometimes I'm just standing there talking and nothing really happens on screen. So that would be a little bit too boring. And yeah, I will try to make this PlayStation 3 emulator work, so I actually can play these at least the first two games again. And yeah, I would say that's it. Yeah, I liked here mostly the story. So the games are solid, okay. For today's standard, maybe too outdated. But yeah, that's the Resistance series. And I hope you have a great weekend, and we will hear each other most likely on Monday. See you soon.